Antoine is going to be crowned your WOR Season 10 champion.
And history's been made. Ballina, the first WOR PS4 champion. What a championship! What a season! Absolutely phenomenal.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to World Online Racing for round number 8 here in the PlayStation platform on the top tier. And we are at the Circuit of the Americas, Austin, Texas, for the United States Grand Prix. My name is Luke Etheridge, and joining me in the commentary box this Friday evening is Logan Skelton. Logan, how are you doing?
Yeehaw! Time for some NASCAR and Oh, wait, sorry, we're in the wrong place. Yeah, I am. Sorry. Yeah, it's very good to be here in Austin, not for NASCAR. I do apologize, I got a bit too excited there. But yeah, it's going to be very interesting seeing how the competitors will fare around this most recent of American circuits, of course, designed by Herman Tilke in 2012. It was opened and it has hosted the US Grand Prix every year, except for 2020, of course. Of course, we had a brilliant race last week. We are about to begin the session, as you can see. Well, I don't think you can see, actually. Of course, the Elgato is on. But we are just about to begin a session. Of course, 18 minutes of qualifying before the race. This circuit is, of course, as I just said, pretty recent. Luke, do you have any information about this track?
Of course I do, Logan. It's the 10th circuit to actually host Formula 1 in USA, the 9th... No, I think it's the 7th or 8th different one, actually, to hold the United States Grand Prix with the various different names that they had. Caesars Palace Grand Prix, of course, in the car park in Las Vegas. The first one that was purpose-built, though, for Formula 1. 5.513 kilometres, 3.426 miles. And like NASCAR, there's plenty of left turns. Unlike NASCAR, there's a few right-handers in there as well. And there's always that little bit of thread of rain here in Austin, which can make things quite interesting. Expect to see the two DRS zones, turn 1 and turn 12, as we're familiar to seeing at most circuit. DRS will be absolutely key around here, and that first sector, I think, in qualifying, that's going to be crucial as well. You'll see a lot of validations and a lot of drivers getting it wrong slightly. The curves can definitely catch you out of this game through that first sector.
Yes, indeed, of course. The sections to watch out for. It's going to be a real test for the drivers, of course. No holds barred invalidation will probably result in catastrophic consequences for the drivers if they're not careful. So watch out at turns 3 to probably 9, maybe 10, of course, if you're going through there. There is no room for error, and then, of course, you've got to make it good in sector 3. Of course, that is the twistier section, which kind of reminds me of Abu Dhabi, in all honesty.
Yeah, I think the way they've designed the circuit, as we are heading into qualifying, and I can tell you, it is beautiful sunshine at the moment. The way they've designed the circuit is they've taken a lot of inspiration from different tracks. So I know the first sector is meant to give that Maggots, Beckett's Chapel style feel, with the S's getting progressively slower and more difficult as you go along. Turns 12 to 15 is meant to be like Hockenheim-like stadium section, and then 16, 17 and 18, almost copying turn 8 at Turkey, where there you've got the quadruple apex right-hander. Here it is a quadruple apex left-hander, although it is weird how this one counts as 3 corners and not 4, and the one in Turkey counts as only 1 corner, but I don't make the rules. Last time out then, it was Jax who took his first victory of the season, and a very strange phenomenon on the podium, with 3 drivers getting podiums who hadn't scored points all season. Possessing getting second place and Bowling getting third in their first races, but Gamer is still leading the championship, now by 70 points from Brock. And again, unfortunately, Gamer not able to make it here tonight. And I'm just looking through the list. I don't think Brock is as well. So the highest person we've got in the championship here tonight is Andrea on 51 points. So definitely a chance for him to go up the order. We are seeing a few cars try a lap on the medium tyres. Could be crucial if you can get onto that top 10 on the yellow wall tyre.
Yes, indeed. Just looking at the leaderboard right now, Lars is in... Well, actually, no, Lars is not here tonight, but Lars is on 58, Brock's on 70, and CRG Gamer, or it's shown up as San Corby for me, is on 140 points. So he's got double Brock's score. That's actually pretty insane. But the highest score amongst those drivers here tonight is Andrea with 51. Nico is on 42. Soku is on 40. But no, he is not here tonight. So Simon is also not here tonight. He's on 34. Corney is also... Yeah, there's only 13 drivers. It's going to be hard to find them all, considering we have 33 in the lineup. But yes, just 13 drivers tonight, so a big chance for a lot of drivers to get some points.
Yeah, certainly. Visser deciding to give up on that lap. He's headed to the pit lane before it's even started, taking a very interesting line through the final corner. But we'll follow Dan Spreen then in the Red Bull as he takes us for a lap of the circuit of the Americas, heading uphill then towards the braking zone for turn 1, designed to cause all sorts of chaos and overtaking on the first lap. You can see Dan Spreen there, staying in third gear actually to take that apex. Perhaps might have done slightly better if he'd have changed down a gear, but there is a reason why I'm in the commentary box and now through these S's for the first sector, lifting ever so slightly through that part of the session. It looks like Enzo Ricciardo having a few issues. Just the first tap of brakes then for Dan Spreen, sub 25 seconds through that first sector. Nice and careful then through turn 9. You can run wide over the curb here, but if you do go too far, the game doesn't actually give you an invalidation, but they have been warned. If they put four wheels over the curb, not over the white line, they will get themselves a penalty. Now coming out of turn 11 along the second DRS straight, where you'd expect to see most of the overtaking into one of the heaviest braking points on the track. Turn number 12 here, sticking to the right hand side, of course, braking just before the 100 metre board there for Dan Spreen, cutting that curb quite fine indeed, running slightly wide as he was trying to shorten that apex as much as possible and carry as much speed through the corner. Now through this twisty section into 14 and 15, we'll see a few cars go side by side and try the cutbacks at this part of the circuit. And then 16, 17 and 18, you are going to be a very brave person to go side by side with another car through here, and it can easily end in tears. Turn 19, another one where you need to be careful on the track limits, as proved by that. Dan Spreen just invalidating at that part of the circuit. You can't take the IndyCar line through turn 19, and we're already seeing that quite a lot of cars are struggling with the track limits. Santeri, he's got all sorts of connection issues by the looks of it at the moment. So don't know whether that's the same on your end, Logan, but he's got a teleporting Williams on my screen as Santeri heads across the finish line, and his lap's not even counted. So a lot of drivers having issues with track limits. There we go, 133.3.
Yeah, it's going to the same my screen as Kryptonite sets the faster time, of course, 131.9. Something is going wrong with my screen. I don't know why, but anyway, it's just the leaderboard's just flashed up and again. We see another driver has joined, F Messenger. I'm not sure who this is, but he is here in the race today.
Yeah, I've heard a driver who could be a potential new reserve, so we'll have to wait and see how he does on this first race. Cohen now just starting a lap. He's probably one of the ones to watch for. He's definitely got some fantastic pace. We've seen that on occasion so far this season from the Shazoo drivers. We just try and there's so many different drivers in the championship. Just trying to find him at this moment in time. He's had 2 pole positions, but only that one podium at the moment in his first race. Hasn't finished any other races since then. So if he can keep it clean, his pace would suggest that he's going to be somewhere near the top. And I think that is why he's going to try and set a lap on that medium tyres. Kryptonite, he's definitely nailed his flag to the soft tyre mast. 131.9. Looks like Kryptonite's going for all-out pole position.
Yes, by the looks of it, that is the case. Of course, the medium tyre. Remember, if you start in the top 10 for the race, you have to use the tyre you used in qualifying. And considering how fast the softs deteriorate on circuits like Austin, the mediums might have a big advantage as we see Cohen coming around the start of the third sector, of course, the very twisty section, which kind of a combination of Abu Dhabi and Turkey all rolled into one. probably Sochi as well, as he makes his way around the Istanbul-esque turn 8, which is 4 turns, funnily enough, as we have said many times, but now he's got to be careful on the penultimate turn. Lots of drivers invalidated, not just in the game, but in reality. Makes his way around the final corner. Oh, and he nearly invalidated, but he does go second, just half a second behind on the medium tyre. Very impressive run from the Suzuki driver.
Yeah, very good lap there by Cohen in the Alpine. It is Kryptonite who's leading qualifying and his teammates leading the Drivers' Championship. And no surprise with Sam Corby's lead, they're leading the Constructors as well. AlphaTauri on 156, McLaren 121, then Williams, Aston Martin, Red Bull, Alpine, Haas, Ferrari, Alfa Romeo, Mercedes. Still yet to get off the mark, so they could really do with Enzo Ricciardo getting a decent result tonight. Ricci doesn't seem to be doing too bad on that set of mediums at the moment. We'll have a look at what time the drivers have set their best time on. You can see there Santeri has done his best time on the mediums, but it looks as though he's going to attempt a soft run next time around in this session. Ricci being very careful to avoid that track limits at turn 19. Like you said, they were watching it for it in real Formula 1. They'll be watching it like a hawk there tonight as Ricci goes into third place, 132.521. We are seeing some pretty decent times then from the cars on the medium. Suggests to me, if anyone does go for a set of soft tyres, Kryptonite's time is definitely beatable.
Yes, it is definitely beatable. Of course, we've just seen the medium drivers just get within 6/10 of Kryptonite, so it is a bit of a concern for Kryptonite, but you never know what can happen and unfold in the rest of this session, as we've just seen who is on a lap. It should be Dan Spreen heading up to the hairpin before the long DRS straight that begins Sector 2, or in the middle of Sector 2. Making his way down in the special Red Bull livery, which is still on, despite having the Acura livery, because of course Acura is the American equivalent of Honda. I think it's actually the luxurious car brand that the United States has by Honda. He's at the fastest Sector 2, Dan Spreen, coming around the beginning of Sector 3. Of course, this is a very unorthodox turn. It's kind of like the one in Bahrain, the turn 8. You know, you have this weird entry into but it goes out very nicely as he makes his way through to the infamous turn 19, and he's just kept it in bounds into the final corner. And look, his time is 2/10 behind Kryptonite.
Yeah, not a bad lap whatsoever there for him. Line Violet comes into the pit lane, and I know what you mean. That it's very difficult for these drivers who, in this tier, aren't allowed to race with any assists whatsoever. So it is very tricky coming through that part of the circuit. That turn 14, turn 15, like you said, it's a bit like 9 and 10 at Bahrain when you've got to steer and turn at the same time, which if you've got ABS turned on, is very simple indeed. If you haven't, as none of these drivers will have, you have got to be a lot more careful just modulating that brake pedal, especially once the tyre wear starts to come into play in the race. Could be very easy to lock up there and pick up yourself a silly warning. Still only 8 drivers set a time with 8 minutes to go in this session, so we're still waiting on 6 of the others to get their first runs on the board. One of them is going to be Rudy in the other Red Bull. Last time around, he did not finish. He's got points on 3 occasions so far this season, yet to get on a podium, and he is 9th in the championship on 26 points. His teammate Dan Spreen 17th on 14. So definitely a chance for Rudy tonight, again like some of these others, just to give themselves that bit of confidence. And although you'd still expect, obviously, with Andrea being the highest person in the championship tonight, it's not going to have too much bearing on the overall standings, especially near the top. It's a good chance for a confidence boost for some of these drivers who perhaps have struggled so far this season.
Yes, indeed. I've just gone on board with Dan Spreen. I think he's just going for another lap. He has invalidated by the looks of it, though. But Rudy, his teammate, goes top by 600 to 131.842. As we're trying to look for other drivers on the track, I think Thomas just started his lap.
Yeah, we've also got Kryptonite. Kryptonite's coming through the final corner. He needs to smash the pole position time. 131.286. Kryptonite found about 0.3 of a second in that final sector there. So a great job by him. Enzo Ricciardo's got himself back into the section, which is good news. But Kryptonite, we said his time was beatable. Rudy just beat it. And then Kryptonite went and smashed his own time. 131.2. Very good from him indeed. Thomas has invalidated. I just feel like with Thomas, he had great pace in the first race. You might, Nico and Thomas were fighting for podiums in that first race. And whilst Nico's been a consistent visitor to the points since then, Thomas, he's only had 6 points all season, and 8th in Bahrain and 9th in Canada. So again, one of those drivers where tonight could really be a confidence boost. Could do, of course, with getting a valid lap in, as Jax gets himself up into 4th place on a second run on those medium tyres. The winner from last week continuing his good pace.
Yes, indeed. Of course, he did a last to first. He started in 16th because he didn't set a time. I do believe he joined the session right at the end of qualifying and couldn't set a lap in time. But he made up for that and went right up the field and securing probably one of the most memorable wins in PlayStation League Racing's history. By that I mean, of course, racing on the PlayStation system.
Yeah, certainly was a fantastic result for Jax, fighting from the back, getting the strategy absolutely bang on, and for the final few laps it looked pretty much certain that he was going to be the driver to take that victory. On board then with Simon, he's about to try and set his first clean lap of the session as he heads to that tricky turn number 12, just that downhill braking zone. Can easily send you off, going very deep. Asked Lando Norris about how close he came to T-boning Charles Leclerc in the race on Sunday, but no such worries for this Ferrari. He's keeping it nice and tidy at the moment. Very smooth through the apex of turn 15, and then his long right-hander. This will start killing the front left tyre. It is an anti-clockwise circuit, of course, Austin, so it's normally the front right tyre that starts taking a bit more of a hit. That is very deep into turn number 19, nowhere near the apex. It will definitely cost him a tenth or two for the Ferrari driver, but we'll see where this puts him in the order. And in the end, he does go fastest by 6 thousandths of a second. Hasn't got a lot of fuel, so needs to get a bit of a skate on to get back round in time, back to the pits, and see if he can set another run.
Fine margins, Luke. Fine margins. And with 5 minutes to go, it's going to be a bit of a challenge for all the other drivers to try and beat that. Of course, we have some drivers on a lap right now. I do believe Andrea is one of them. Messenger, who has not set a lap yet, is also one of them. I do believe coming around the... Oh dear, and Risa has had a crash at turn 19, but I don't know if he has damage, but whatever it is, regardless, he is going to have to go back into the pits. He's not going to have much time to set another lap. 4 minutes, but I'm sure he'll get out in time. Dan Spreen's going to get out. I think they're all starting to come out now. They know they have a big ask on their hands. Try and topple Simon from the top step of that leaderboard.
Yeah, certainly. Andrea was trying to improve his best lap. As you can see there, was done on a set of the soft tyres. He's now gone on to a set of the mediums, made a massive mistake through the S section, ran about turn 5 and turn 6, so he won't be improving on this lap. I wonder whether he has got enough in his car to get on another run. And of course, this is Messenger. He did join partway through the session. It is not Valtteri Bottas that is driving that Mercedes. It is our new reserve driver, so we'll see what he can do through 16, 17 and 18. As long as he keeps it clean, well, as long as he keeps it clean and sets a decent lap time, you'd imagine he'll be able to get himself in the top 10, because Santeri quite a way off at the moment on a 1:33.3, but he is out on another time. But the Mercedes driver heads towards the finish line. Where's this going to put him? Not bad whatsoever. 3rd place, just over half a tenth off of pole position, but that could well be his final run. We are starting to see now a few more drivers put some decent lap times in.
Yeah, I've just checked the Discord, and Dan has said F Messenger as a driver is probably going to be a tier 2 reserve. That's a bit funny because he's just got 3rd on an all-star lineup. His times were good, so he invited him, just so we know. But of course, that is alright. Of course, bringing up the numbers, always great to see, and hopefully he keeps it clean, and I'm sure he will, knowing him. Making a great impact already in qualifying, a 3rd place.
Yeah, could well get himself a chance as an F1 reserve, never mind a tier 2 reserve with pace like that. 3rd looking very good for him at the moment. Andreas had a much cleaner first sector on this lap in the McLaren. We'll see what his time's like coming across the line, whether he'll actually be able to gain anything on that set of the medium tyres. His soft run compared to some of the others does suggest that maybe he backed off, just lights the rears up ever so slightly, but he's half a tenth down on his soft tyre run at the moment, which makes me think he might have backed off quite severely in that final sector. But this is probably going to be the last lap Andrea is going to be able to do in this session then for the McLaren driver. Highest placed man, let's not forget, in the championship that is actually here tonight. He's currently 4th on 51 points, so a win would take him up to second in the championship, taking that best of the best spot off of his teammate. But as Andrea comes around the final corner, it looks like he is going to improve. No! Invalidates coming out of the final corner. And that, of course, ruins his next lap as well. Big mistake for Andrea, who might well be hoping that Enzo, Line Violet and Toma get a clean lap in to knock him out of the top 10.
I think he would have been up in like 7th if he had not swerved to the outside of the track limit and after the final corner. That is really unfortunate for Andrea. That could cost him a chance at getting up further on the grid. As we see, there's a lot of yellow flags, and of course that is because they are just warming up their tires, preparing, of course, giving way to oncoming vehicles. Of course, lots of drivers trying to set a lap have to go through the traffic. It's, you know, it's a really long slog, make it through without fail. As Messenger has had enough. He thinks his third place time is good. He's retired in the pit lane. I don't blame him. I think that's a very impressive time, as we are trying to find drivers that are on a lap. Who do you have on right now?
I've got Rudy. He's on a lap. He's 3 temps up as well through Sector 2. It looks like a lot of drivers are doing a second warm-up lap. It's a common feature on F1 2021. He's got a bit of traffic ahead of him then from Line Violet, who could really do with diving well out of the way. And that is not what he's done whatsoever. Rudy's tapped him through the final corner. That is very messy indeed. I think just a bit of frustration there from Rudy, but Line Violet just parked his car on the apex, and in the end, that's 2 laps ruined.
Yeah, and I don't think he has crossed the line, but there's no point in him doing a lap because it's just been ruined by Rudy, and they're going side by side to each other. They're not happy with each other. They're having a fight with the car. It's kind of like Baku 2017, albeit much less violent, thankfully, as Santeri has retired in the pits. He has called it quits. I don't think he was able to set a time going into the final corner. Andrea is invalidated, so that's the end of him this session. Coming around the final few corners now is Lol Saucy. He has invalidated as well, so that's it for him. Dan Screen has invalidated. That's it for him. Toma, who's also invalidated. That's a lot of drivers that's invalidated. Jax has not invalidated. He's coming through 8 tenths faster than he was last time. Can he keep it clean through the final 2 corners? Let's find out. He's clean out of turn 19, clean out of turn 20, and well, he's slowed.
He wants the mediums. He wants the medium tyres. Simon goes fastest then on a 131.0. Kryptonite's invalidated, so he will not be improving at all. Reset now goes fastest on a 130.977. Can Enzo Ricardo get himself into the top 10 on those soft tyres? He can indeed, but it is only 6th place, which does push Andrea down. He'll be breathing a sigh of relief, Andrea, that he won't have to start on the soft tyres quite a long way down the order. But it is Risse then, fastest of everyone in this qualifying session. Kuhn and Jax might be looking very handy indeed, though, starting 9th and 10th on a set of the mediums.
A good strategy call from both drivers. Could work in the race. It probably will work, considering their pace. But yeah, a lot of excitement going into this race, Luke.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting. I'm just going to try and keep an eye on the Discord to see if there are any... well, it says Rudy and Line Violet are typing at the moment. So anyone who has got access to the Discord, I'd get the popcorn out for the next couple of minutes, because this could be very interesting indeed. Like, definitely at the start, Line Violet should have got out of the way, but then Rudy, perhaps realising that his lap's ruined, it's not going to look good for him when he just gave a little tap on the back of the Alfa Romeo. But we'll have to see what happens with all of that. I'm sure that'll be something for the stewards to look at. But one Alfa Romeo had some difficulties in qualifying. The other one takes pole position. A first pole of the season for Risse. Let's not forget, though, no one who has qualified on pole position has taken a victory so far this season. The closest anyone got, first race of the season, Suku. And last time around, Passassin, both finishing in second. Simon on the front row of the grid. Kryptonite was fastest in the first 2 parts of qualifying. On his third one, though, couldn't improve, stays in 3rd place. Good result from Messenger on his debut in 4th. Santeri and Enzo Ricardo 5th and 6th. For Red Bull Dutch, 4th row of the grid with Rudy and Dan Spreen. Kuhn and Jax both getting into the top 10 on the medium tyres. Andrea, Saucy, Line Violet and OP Toma will all have a fresh choice of tyres, of course. And that could be very important. I feel like tonight is going to be one of those where the alternate strategy could work well. Whether it gets you a win, I'm not sure. Wouldn't be surprised if we see someone from 9th and below getting on the podium, though.
Yeah, that would be very interesting and a great story to tell if they do pull it off. Of course, we did see it last week. I know I keep going on like a broken record about it, but it was still incredible to see someone from 16th get a win on a circuit like Spa, which is very demanding, I have to say, but lots of passes can be made there. But this is a completely different environment, anti-clockwise. So it's on it's kind of like left-handed and right-handed. There's a huge difference in clockwise and anti-clockwise circuits. Of course, most of the circuits on this calendar are clockwise, but this probably one of the few exceptions to the rule, on alongside Jeddah, which is coming up soon. Imola, of course, which will be the penultimate race this season. And yeah, it is going to be really interesting to see what happens. Of course, not unfamiliar if you're from the United States. Most circuits in the United States are anti-clockwise. Of course, the ovals are anti-clockwise. The Indianapolis MotoGP circuit was anti-clockwise, despite the road course being clockwise for F1. It's going to be pretty interesting to see how these drivers handle their tyre conservation when they're normally used to the other side of the tyres being worn out by the end of their stint.
Yeah, these drivers, thankfully, they haven't got to worry about the neck starting to fall off almost halfway through the corner, which is always a worry for the drivers in real Formula 1 going around these anti-clockwise circuits. One thing I've seen, though, from the couple of races I've commentated on this circuit before, seems to be extremely high for fuel consumption. Drivers have come into the race, I've seen sometimes with more than a lap, you know, 1.5 laps extra fuel. There's been no safety cars, and they've had to do some pretty drastic fuel saving at the end of the race. So that may be one thing to watch out for then as we take a look at the Circuit of the Americas. 5.513 kilometers, 20 turns here in Austin. As we said, the 10th circuit used for Formula 1 in the United States. Turn 1 and Turn 12, the two DRS zones. And I think we are going to see plenty of action at that part of the circuit. We are still waiting for the drivers to
what's going on?
To load into the session. Hope, fingers crossed, we'll be able to get loaded in shortly. If not, we might have to do a tiny bit of a lobby restart here, which is just adds that bit more to the tension.
And it would not be good for, of course, this league. Of course, you know, last year the game was plagued with issues. I think there's a glitch, Cohen is saying. I'm not sure what's happened.
I think the easiest way of putting it is, well, oh.
Hold on, here we go.
Oh, hang on, something's happening, there we go. All we had to do was be a tiny bit patient. There we go, we are underway again. No surprise with the tyre strategies. Top 8 on the softs, bottom 6 on that set of the medium tyres. But of course, Cohen and Jax on that slightly older set of mediums. So, see, let's see how they do at the front of this medium train, because you'd expect, only by a tiny bit, we'd expect Andrea, Sossi, Line Violet and Toma just to have that tiny little bit more grip, which could help off the start line. We saw, of course, in the real United States Grand Prix, Lewis Hamilton getting a better start from second place, which helped him take the lead early on.
Yes, indeed. Of course, the first corner run-up is a massive hill. It's like going up a loop-the-loop partially, or maybe the warped wall from Ninja Warrior if I go off topic. But yes, a long run-up, very hilly run-up, and a lot of action, and a lot of places could be won or lost just on that first corner, first lap alone.
Yeah, I think we will see. We'll see plenty of moves, I think, into that first corner. 9 times out of 10, there's some sort of car running wide round there, and that could cause all sorts of controversy, both in the real world and here. And another thing that we saw happen in the race at the weekend, and what could happen tonight, is when you're trying to get through the field later on in the race, let's say on a fresher set of the tyres, where you catch the car up could be absolutely crucial, because if you don't get the move done into turn 1 and you can't hang it around the outside into 2, it's pretty much single file all the way to turn 11, turn 12.
Yes, just to let you know, Lol Saucy just rejoined in time. Hopefully that doesn't mean the lobby glitches itself, because in the past when there's the formation lap, sometimes there is a glitch where the cars just won't start. Santeri getting his marching orders back to the grid or have contact with another driver. You cannot do that, of course, because... and if you do it, then your tyres will be cold, so you don't want to do that at all.
No, don't want to make sure your rears are nice and heated up, hopefully. I'm hoping Saucy doesn't take control of his car until after the start of the race, because I have seen sometimes that does fix the glitchy starts that we can have. So we'll have to wait and see what happens here. We've got even more tension at the start of this race, because we don't know if we are actually going to get a race start straight away. But his car's pulling into 12th, and it looks as though it is still in AI mode at this moment in time, but it is reset on pole position for the first time this season. Neither of the, in fact, no, only Jax on this grid has won a race so far, so we could well get ourselves a new winner here as we are waiting for the lights to come on, and the fact that we're waiting quite a long time, there we go, we should have had faith again. We've got 5 lights here in the USA. And we're underway for the United States Grand Prix, and it looks like Simon's had a pretty well. His first initial getaway wasn't too bad, and then he's had a bit of a slower second run, so that's going to be risen nice and safe into turn number 1. Kryptonite's going to tray it all the way around the outside. It's very dusty offline there. You can see all sorts of cars moving. I think we've had a spinner in the background as well. That is Santeri who's off in the barrier. He's going to have some rear wing damage, and I think Saucy's still struggling to get into the session, but it is reset in the lead. Simon holds on to second in the end, then Kryptonite, Danstream having a pretty good start. 4 places gained from the Red Bull driver. Fantastic start from him. And then it is for 2 Mercedes. A slight little slide there from Danstream, and that allows Enzo Ricciardo to get his way up the inside. No change, though, in the top 3. Plenty of jostling in the midfield.
Yes, indeed. Santeri just having a horrendous start. He's spun off after turn 1, and now he's right at the back of the pack, and that yellow flag is incorrect. That should not be there. A lot of battling here. There's 2 Red Bulls getting involved, the 2 Mercedes. That would be Rudy battling with Messenger, and Messenger gets himself up into 6th position. I do believe that's where it was before they got into the corner, and that yellow flag is definitely wrong. There's a yellow flag showing up on my screen in the second corner. That is incorrect. I think that's a glitch on the game. I do apologize for any technical difficulties. But as we come around the first lap, it is reset followed by Simon, Kryptonite, Enzo Ricciardo, Danstream, Messenger, Rudy, Cohen, Jax, Andrea, Line Violet, Thomas, Saucy, and Santeri. I do believe Santeri has just caught up to Saucy, and Saucy's going to the right. Thomas pit because I believe he has damage, and Saucy is backed off by the looks of it while battling Santeri. Santeri now in 12th, 5 seconds behind the front pack, as Danstream very close to Messenger here, going back for 5th place this time. Of course, Thomas we've just seen pit, but Danstream goes very wide there, and now Rudy's right behind his teammates.
Yeah, we saw this last lap from Danstream. He really seems to be struggling with just the rear tyres as they're coming through the latter part of the S's. Round about turn 9, lost it on the last lap, and that allowed Enzo Ricciardo to get ahead of him. Messenger managed to pull the move off this time around, and there we go. It looks like Rudy is going to get ahead. So what looked like a decent start to the race for Danstream, slowly, just slightly falling apart. He's now back down to 7th place and got Cohen on the back of him on those fresh medium tyres, well, fresher medium tyres, we should say. They'll be definitely in a better state than the softs at the moment, but it's been a pretty clean start from the front drivers. There was, of course, the damage that Thomas got and Santeri's spin, so it will be interesting to see if they will lead. It looks like Risse, he is just going at this moment in time 1.5 seconds. It goes up to then. He's got the lead of this race over Simon, and I think Kryptonite might be thinking about a move this time around down into turn 12 just to try and stop that Alfa Romeo getting further ahead.
And lap 3 has begun, and that means DRS is enabled, but I don't think it's going to be happening for Risse. Nothing to worry about him. He has a 1.7 second lead over Simon, but Simon should be a little concerned. Kryptonite is within 2/3 of a second. Coming through the S's, of course, the DRS detection zone is just before the hairpin, and after the hairpin will be the activation zone going right down into turn number 12. As we see now, it's 4 attempts. Kryptonite really gaining a lot of pace, even without the DRS, and he should have a golden opportunity to take 2nd place from the Ferrari driver Simon, as now they make their way around turn 11. DRS on at full blast for the AlphaTauri driver Kryptonite. And we're going to make the move, is he? Going right past him. And that is a nice move for second place for Kryptonite. But no, Simon's not done with him yet. He's side by side with him. But I don't think it's going to be enough to go back for it, as the two Mercedes drivers, Luke, are having an internal battle with each other.
Yeah, we are. They've had plenty of internal battles around America in the Mercedes car. Let's not forget it's where Hamilton won the title in 2015, as that is, I'm not sure whether that was intentional from Enzo Ricciardo or whether he got it a bit wrong there, but these two Mercedes, I don't know what they're playing at this moment in time, but that's just allowed Rudy to get ahead of them, and now Dan Spreen's going to try it all the way around the outside on Enzo Ricciardo. They definitely just got in each other's way there. Have the two Mercedes round the outside there, I don't think is quite going to work, and Messenger comes into the pit, so I wonder if he picked up a bit of damage, maybe tapping the back of his teammate coming out of turn number 15. I saw Enzo Ricciardo spear off to the left-hand side, but yeah, definitely not what the Mercedes would have wanted. Toto Wolff's probably in the process of ordering a new desk from IKEA after watching that one. Both of the Red Bulls getting ahead of both of the Mercedes, and Messenger coming into the pits. Not sure whether he had damage, whether that was just a very early pit stop to try something different on the strategy. Surely that early on in the race must have been for damage.
Was fantastic segue into Toto Wolff ordering from IKEA. I never thought he did. I always thought he ordered from Asda, but oh well. Anyway, Dan Spreen and Enzo Ricciardo battling. I just checked F Messenger. He had to pit for a new front wing. He must have had damage with that battle. But look at this! Corn making a move on both Enzo Ricciardo and Dan Spreen, and it has worked a treat. He's taken 2 places at once. But no, he's went wide, and Enzo Ricciardo takes back 5th position. And Dan Spreen's thrown back into the battle now, as Kryptonite has lost the 2nd place to Simon. Now they're side by side, coming through the 4 turns, which is really 1 turn. And Kryptonite goes a little wide, trying to battle with Simon, and Simon is going to take back his 2nd place.
Yeah, great battling throughout the field. Very opportunistic by Cohen to get 2 cars in one. Shame for him, obviously, that he did run deep in the end, so couldn't quite hold the move off entirely. Here comes Kryptonite, much better exit out the final corner, and he is going to get ahead of Simon. But all this battling is just allowing the Alfa Romeo of Reset to escape quite dramatically. It's like the olden days of Formula 1 in the early 50s. The Alfa Romeo, 3.4 seconds ahead so far, and we've only had 4 laps as Jackson Dan's been there swapping around. We're starting to see now these medium tyres probably in a slightly better state, and that is good news for Cohen, Jax and Andrea, because they've stayed with the soft runners just about.
Yeah, sorry for that brief outburst. Jax made a fantastic dive, Daniel Ricciardo-esque, into the first corner on Dan Spreen. Brilliant move from Jax, up into 7th now, showing that he hasn't lost any of that pace he had shown in Belgium. Of course, this is a far cry from the hilly track that is Spa-Francorchamps. This is America. This is where pretty much anything goes. As we see, Simon has lost 2nd place once again. Meanwhile, Andrea has got past Dan Spreen now. Dan Spreen really struggling with his pace now as they make their way through Sector 3 beginning now. Jack's next challenger will be Shazoo Cohen. So a battle of Shazoo drivers coming up here, Luke. Just waiting patiently at Jackson's coming through turns. Oh dear, Cohen has made a huge error coming out of the turn 18. And Jax will be handed 6th place on a plate, and Andrea will be handed 7th. Because it's a long train for 6th position, I have to say. As now Dan Spreen is fallen to 9th. Not what he wanted at all. Cohen is now 3/10 behind Andrea, who is, he's made a bit of a slide and a mess up around turn number 1. And Cohen might have a chance to get 7th place back here, Luke.
Yeah, he might indeed. I think Dan Spreen, he's really struggling on his ERS at this moment in time. You saw his red light flashing extremely early on down the back straight last time. That is why, even though both himself and Andrea had the DRS, it was straightforward for the McLaren to get the move done. Andrea's just got a bit deep into turn number 8 there, and I think that also compromised Cohen into turn 9. Did not want to be that close to the back of the McLaren driver, but things Things really spreading out. We're used to seeing DRS zones around quite a lot of the circuits now. It's only Andrea, Cohen, and this sort of battle with Jax just up ahead that really seeing the DRS at the moment. The top 5 cars, top 6 cars you could say, none of them really inside DRS range of this moment in time. And even Cohen and Andrea not close enough to the car in front to do anything about it. Very late on the brakes there from the Alpine driver. I feel if it had been slightly closer, we'd have seen another Daniel Ricciardo impression there straight down the inside into turn number 12, but just has to stay patient for now. We've already seen him make a slight mistake at this part of the circuit earlier on, but the medium runners not doing too bad. I think they'd wish they were slightly closer to some of those up ahead. Further down the back of the field, we've seen Messenger and Thomas swap around, but at the lead of the race at this moment in time, it is Rice, 2.5 seconds now, so Kryptonite has closed that gap ever so slightly, and he's dropping Simon, who seems to be struggling with his pace all of a sudden, as Rudy is now within DRS range.
Yes, indeed, he's going a little time in through lap 6 now, just 8 tenths behind, but he's got to build it up more if he wants a chance to make a move on the Shizou driver in for 3rd place. Of course, has been the podium positions. This is where the points really get a steep jump up. You go from 12 to 15, then to 18, then to 25. Yes, a 7-point increase from 2nd to 1st as Saucy's just been given another penalty. But now the gap's starting to build up again. 9 tenths, not what Rudy wants, but it does look like he is going to get DRS, and yes, he will get DRS, but what will the gap be? Oh, that's 8.5 tenths. It's not going to look easy. It's big ask for Rudy. Is he going to get anywhere near Simon? The gap's starting to decrease, half a second now, but I doubt he's going to try and make a move, as there's a lot of battling going on between 6th and 9th. My goodness me. But it looks like, it's 6th and 10th, I should say. Looks like Andrea has come out ahead of the pack, as Santeri just gets a penalty, not what you want, especially if you're further down. And there's a virtual safety car, Luke. I don't know why that is.
Yeah, I know Santeri, oh, he's got no front wing, so I think he's had an issue somewhere, so that explains the virtual safety car. He did have a spin early on in the lap, and I didn't see him hit the wall again, because that VSC seemed to come out when he was on the straight. What that has done, though, is worked out fantastically for the leaders. I think we're going to see all the soft tyre runners dive it into the pits then. So there's Rice, Kryptonite, Simon, Rudy, Dan Screen coming in as well, and Ricardo. Line Violet coming in off a set of the mediums. That is an interesting one to see, but this is, it's not a free pit stop, but it is a pretty cheap pit stop for all of these drivers. As you can see there, Rice, he comes out in 4th place, in pretty close proximity to the cars ahead of him. That's worked out pretty well. Can you get these medium tyres 21 laps? Historically, I'd have said no. I reckon if you're careful around here, as Santeri now gets a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane and retires from the race. I know he said he didn't have his glasses with him. And Enzo Ricciardo, drive-through penalty. Speeding under VSC. I think if Toto Wolff hadn't ordered 2 desks of IKEA, now might be a time to go back onto his order.
I hope he's kept his receipts, because Enzo Ricciardo, a massive blunder. You do not want to go in negative delta during the virtual safety car. Of course, that is a drive-through penalty, and that can be very costly for your race, and that probably has put his final nail in the coffin for that race. But you never know, anything can happen, and it usually does, of course, knowing what safety cars can do to the dynamic of the field. As we see, Andrea is now the leader of this race. Briefly, he will have to pit, of course. You must use 2 different tyre compounds, not 2 different tyres, 2 different tyre compounds. You cannot use 2 mediums, you cannot use 2 softs, you cannot use 2 hards and nothing else. You have to use a soft and medium, a soft, a hard, medium, hard, or maybe all 3 if you need to. As Andrea is, of course, not going to pit, there's no need to, of course. Mediums, it's unusual to see if people are going to do the 1-stop or the 2-stop. Of course, the game said I should do 2 stops, but do you see them doing 2 stops, Luke?
No, I think if you can make the 1-stop work, I think it is definitely the strategy to go for. Of course, in real life, we saw drivers doing a 2-stop, and it's not normally that common to see that. Enzo Ricciardo comes into the pits for his drive-through penalty. He'll come out probably just ahead of Saucy, as we are seeing some moves further down the order, but that is just, of course, Ricciardo dropping down. Andrea's not in a bad position here. In the lead of this race, he started on a fresh set of the medium tyres. He was further down the order, so he did have that fresh set of mediums, whereas Jax and Cohen started in the top 10, so they'd done qualifying laps, and I think in Jack's case, he'd done 2 laps on that set of the medium tyres. How much he was pushing on the first one, I'm not quite so sure. So Andrea might have a slight advantage on them in that sense, but you'd expect Jackson coming to pit earlier, and the undercut might just negate that advantage ever so slightly. But yeah, the field quite spread out at this moment in time. Moog is in DRS range, but he's not got a lot of ERS at this moment in time. And Lineweiler in 9th. He needs to hang on to the back of Dan Spreen until those hard tyres become the ones to go on. I'm not sure if I was him, I'd have got rid of my mediums to put hards on at that pit stop. I feel whatever you gain from the cheaper pit stop, you're going to lose just how much slower the hard tyres can be.
Yes, indeed. Of course, the hard tyres with the less grip, but more time around the circuits. It's not what you want. Except because, of course, it could work out in his favour if he does take it at the end of the race and the medium starts to deteriorate further. They might neutralise the 2 tyre compounds. As we see right now, I'm on board with Jax, who is getting right close to Andrea. He's challenging for, well, I would say the lead. Of course, these drivers yet to stop. Unless they build like a 20-second gap, which is probably maybe more than that, you're going to lose in the pit stops, of course. So that has to be taken into account. Coming through the S's now, 6 tenths. Still the gap, of course, you need to be within 1 second to get some DRS. Be coming round to turn number 9 and turn number 10 now. Halfway through in terms of turns, but of course, we know that's not true. There's a long way, and there's a yellow flag. Dan Spreen is out!
Dan Spreen off in the wall, just trying to see. You can see that white Red Bull in the gravel trap. It's quite a long way off the circuit, so I'm not sure whether that will cause a VSC or a safety car. It'd be very intriguing to see what the drivers that haven't pitted would do if it had have done. But yeah, Dan Spreen, such a promising start to this race. He qualified in 8th place. He was running 4th for a bit on the first lap. He is now out of the race, and we are down to just 12 runners as Reset on those fresher medium tyres. He's now starting to get onto the back of Cohen, Jackson, Andrea. Seems to do a fantastic job in those first few laps when the tyres are at their freshest. That's where he pulled the gap earlier in the race. He was about 3 seconds ahead of Kryptonite going into the pit stop. He's got that up to nearly 5 seconds at the moment, and Simon and Rudy are also on the back of the Alpha Tauri. So we have got a few trains starting to build in this race as Andrea and the leaders head onto lap 11.
Yes, Thomas just overtaken Saucy for 11th place. Of course, Saucy on the WOR soft tyres, the only driver not on a medium or hard tyre, so very much the soft tyre. The only other driver not on a medium tyre would be Lineweiler, who's trying to get to the end of the race on these hard tyres. As we're seeing a 4-car train now for the lead. Risa, the freshie, I should say, the fresher, not freshie. As I say that because he has the much fresher tyres, of course. Top 3 yet to pit. The gaps are about a second, 6-7 tenths. But Risa is within 3 tenths of Cohen as they approach the detection zone, which is crucial to determining who gets the DRS. And it will be all 3 of the drivers behind Andrea. Now Cohen under pressure from Risa, but Risa with the more of the pace, more of the grip, more of the straight line speed. But look at this in front of him, Jax taking the lead with a move on Andrea. Cohen loses 3rd place to Risa. It's all kicking off here in Austin, Texas, as they're still battling. Cohen trying to get past Risa again, but it doesn't look like it's going to happen as they come around Sector 3 right now. This is very good for Risa. He's now got very close to Andrea. 6 tenths now, 8 tenths, sorry, misread that, as the 2 drivers in front of him squabble for, well, the effective lead of this race, but really the leader here is Risa.
Yeah, it's crucial for Risa that he gets these moves done pretty sharpish like we saw on Cohen, because that's allowed Kryptonite to close up. He closed up about 6 or 7 tenths, I think, just in that first sector where you're really going to start feeling the effects of those front tyres. We're all seeing plenty of penalty messages pop up, as that is Enzo Ricciardo, who has had a spin going through turns 16, 17 and 18, quite a long way off the circuit as well. So be interested to see. Can't see anything from that camera angle. We'll be interested to see whether he has got any tyre. Well, the tyres won't be in too good condition, and I wonder whether he's got any front wing damage, but he stays out on circuit, so it suggests to me everything is fine with his front wing. We saw Andrea get passed by Jax last time around. Now can Andrea try and repay the favour? Again, not a lot of ERS. That could even put him under any pressure from Risa. We'll have to wait and see how this goes for these drivers. Andrea, DRS open, can't use any of that electrical energy. It looks like he is going to be close enough to send one down the inside of Jax into turn number 12. Gets the move done, and you know what, Risa, he says thank you very much for letting me leave the door open. I'll try and take second place as well. Great opportunism from the Alfa Romeo driver. Although he's finding this overtake quite a bit harder at the moment. Jax is going to try and hang round the outside, not got the grip. And that is Risa up into second all of a sudden, and you'd imagine now that he's not in a DRS train, the move on Andrea should be that little bit easier.
Yes, it is very imminent now. Risa getting very close to the leader, Andrea. Should be any minute now. He will strike while the iron is hot. It is definitely hot. It's at boiling point right now. 6/10 is the gap, though. He may have to wait it out. Of course, there's two opportunities. The front stretch and turn 11 and 12. Well, the straight in between those. But yes, as we have a Sector 1 incident, I don't know what's happened. Cohen has lost it!
Cohen has gone off at turn number 1. Hasn't hit the wall. Just a bit too, maybe, a bit too happy on the accelerator pedal there. He's all the way down in 7th place. He's going to have very hot tyres as well. As you can see him sliding through the S's, but he's going to be coming into the bits very soon. So, yeah, not ideal whatsoever for him. He's really struggling at the moment. Of course, once you start overheating the tyres, you slide a bit more, then you spin, then you overheat them even more, and you just find yourself in this vicious circle. As Risa now on the back of Andrea, he's quite a long way behind, but Andrea can't use the DRS, he can't use the ERS. I think very soon he can't find himself in the lead of this race as Risa straight down the inside on the brakes, gets it stopped in time. Job done, straightforward. He's back into the lead of this race. Andrea, though, thinks about fighting back round the outside, and that's what we love about this Sector 2. Well, the start of Sector 3, I should say, here in Austin. You really see the drivers fighting. Moves that look done at the hairpin don't finish until 3 or 4 corners later.
Yes, indeed. As we just saw, Andrea was still in contention to take the lead back. It just didn't work because, of course, he doesn't have the pace that Risa possesses currently as they make their way through to start lap 14. And now Andrea and Jack should be a little concerned about their tyres. They're starting to wear more and more. As much as the tyres wear, they exponentially get more worn. That's how the tyres work. And Cohen, I believe, is got a penalty for speeding in the pit lane. Of course, he has just pitted for soft tyres. Looks like he's going to do the 2-stop. I can't see the softs getting to the end of the race, as he's going to be overtaken by Messenger and no one else, because Toma is about 25 seconds behind Cohen. Of course, that will not be the case when he gets out. Kryptonite has just been given a penalty, though. That's not good for him. But we lost Enzo Ricciardo. He's retiring in the pits. Sorry.
Yeah, Enzo Ricciardo then retiring in the pit lane. Sossi comes in as well for his second stop of the race. That's another set of the medium tyres. Yeah, very intrigued that Cohen has gone for that soft. It's an aggressive strategy, and I think perhaps relying on there being a safety car later on in this race. Jackson, Kryptonite, both with those 3-second tyre penalties mean that if Simon can get a move on here, he's definitely got a chance. Well, you've got to say he's got a very good chance of getting a podium, because front 2 cars, well, second and third, I should say, 2 of the front 3 yet to pit. Andrea and Jax both needed to come into the pits, and I think they'll be wanting to leave it another 2 or 3 laps before they want to put the soft tyres on until the end of the race. But they will come out a long way down the order behind Messenger in what will then be 7th and 8th position. But it is Risa still leading this race, not able to pull away at this moment in time, which I think is what he would have wanted to do. He wouldn't want to give Andrea and Jax DRS just in case they get a free pit stop, of course, with a VSC, because they will be extremely fast at the end of this race.
Yes, indeed. Of course, we'll be looking at the business end of the race very carefully, especially the tyre wear, because you never know. There could be drivers that choose to go on the softs against the medium tyre runners in this closing stages of the race, but that's for later. Now, Risa trying to pull away from the rest of the field, and it's doing very nicely. He's actually got out of DRS. Actually, no, he's lost a bit of time. But I don't think he should be too worried. His pace is much better around the corners. Of course, yeah, 1 second. It shouldn't be much of a concern. Goes back down to 8/10. But of course, it looks like he should be fine for the most part. No battles to tell you about of now. Look, halfway point of the race. Could we see some crazy twists and turns, perhaps? If a safety car comes, that could change the dynamic entirely.
Yeah, I think we could well see that happen. We've seen a few drivers have incidents, of course. We saw Santeri losing his front wing cause of VSC, and Dan's screen's gone off. Maybe we've done that at a different part of the track. We would have seen a full safety car. But yeah, now that Andrea's starting to drop outside of the DRS, if he can stay in there, I think it's going to be worth just staying out on circuit for as long as you can. You might as well while you've got the DRS. You're not losing out too much. But I think this, yeah, he did actually still have the DRS, but he's decided enough is enough. I'm coming into the pits. End of lap 15. Andrea comes into the pits to try and obviously pull that undercut out to help him stay ahead of Jax. He will come out behind Messenger in 8th position. You'd expect Jax to react to that next time around, perhaps. Simon still on the back of Kryptonite, still not able to get that move done. He's got about 50% more VRS, so I think if he really starts putting the AlphaTauri under pressure, there's not a lot Kryptonite can do. But is Simon just thinking, do you know what? Kryptonite's got a penalty. Jax has got a penalty and still needs to come into the pits. If I just stay behind Kryptonite, I'm looking very good to get second place here.
Yes, indeed, of course. 8 tenths, the gap. If he gets any closer to Jax, actually, Jax, yeah, he still has 3 seconds of penalties. But if he gets any much closer to Kryptonite, and of course, Kryptonite could get closer to Jax, and Simon falls in tandem, this is a great opportunity for him to get a podium. But of course, he has to fend off Rudy, who's hurling at him at speed, 6 tenths behind. But Simon now very close to Kryptonite, and that could really help him. He is within the 3-second window between him and Jax, which would see him advance Jax up in the leaderboard, which would mean he would finish in 2nd place. But of course, we'll have to keep watch of that later, because of course there's a long way to go, and if you make one track limits error, that could ruin your chances of getting to the podium.
Yeah, it can. Jax, yeah, making that late move. I thought he was staying out there, but making a late move to come into the pits. Andrea came out in 7th place in the end. Did come out ahead of Messenger and has just overtaken Line Violet. So that is now Jax into the pits. He'll be hoping to also come out ahead of Messenger and to try and get that move done on Line Violet as quickly as possible. Andrea, he's got a big gap to the cars ahead. He's just coming onto that pit straight now as Rudy, Simon and Kryptonite are exiting.
Got it.
Pardon me, exiting turn number 1. So that's going to take him quite a while. As where is Jax going to come out? Cohen's got ahead of Messenger, I should say, sorry. And there we go, Jax just coming out ahead of Cohen, who we think will struggle towards tyres at the end of the race. That shows the power of the undercut, though, because Jax, gone from being all over the back of Andrea, now finds himself 3 seconds behind.
Yes, of course, the undercut, very powerful in racing, not just in sim racing, but in reality, because of course, if you come in early with better pace, with the tyres being much fresher, you have an advantage going in first. So it's always worked to the advantage if you're in 2nd place and try and overtake the leader. You can use the pit stops as a leapfrog. It has worked a treat for Andrea, as we've just seen, but he is 10 seconds behind the medium tyre runners. But of course, there's a long way to go. He could find his way up the order with more grip on those tyres, but he's got to be careful. Tyre conservation has to come into play as well. He has 12 laps to complete on this set. Actually, no, I think it's 13 laps. Can he do it, Luke?
I think he should be able to, but he's going to be pretty close to the penalty range. Well, close to puncture range at the end of the race, I should say. It's Cohen gets his way ahead of Line Violet. And of course, penalties, they're on my mind for one reason. Andrea hasn't got any at the moment. Kryptonite has 3 seconds, so you never know. If we start seeing Rudy and Simon picking up penalties, I would not write out Andrea to get a podium yet on this alternate strategy, although he is very low on his ERS. Messenger, he's had a lot of pace in this race, just a few mistakes and plenty of penalties. 12 seconds at this moment in time, really costing him as he comes into the pits and puts on a set of the soft tyres. And we're not really talking about the leader much because he's just living a nice life at the moment. Risse, 4.6 seconds ahead of Kryptonite, who has a penalty. 5.2 seconds ahead of Simon. 11 laps to go. It's looking very good for the Alfa Romeo driver, who would become, as things stand, the first man to win from pole position.
Yes, indeed. The streak, the hoodoo might be overlooked, as F Messenger has pitted again. He's going on the softs, and he shouldn't worry about Saucy. He's 36 seconds behind. Of course, he would be the only driver to not score. If Messenger keeps this together, he will be in the points. But going back to the front, Andrea's gap to Rudy is now 8.5 seconds. It's now 8.8, but that's mainly because, of course, Rudy has just made his way around the turn 12. Sorry, I was just checking. Oh, I don't want to do that. I've lost my leaderboard. Toma has just been passed by Messenger for 9th place, so that's another point for Messenger. But remember, he has 12 seconds of penalties. And I think we've just seen a penalty from Toma, so he's also on 12 seconds of penalties. They've just cancelled each other's penalties out. Jax has just set the fastest lap, so an extra point if he can... Actually, is it an extra point in WOR? Remind me.
It is not an extra point, but no point.
Oh.
Nothing wrong with setting the fastest laps, of course, as he tries to break away from Cohen and Lineweiler. And the closer we can get to those front drivers, you never know if they start battling. And I think that's where we're going to see the next amount of action, because Rudy, third man in the DRS train, knows he's got to do something here. This would be his first podium this season and the first podium for Red Bull. It would be an absolutely fantastic result, but I think he smells a second place here if he can get ahead of Simon. He's been staring at the back of that Ferrari rear wing for an incredibly long time in this race, and Simon's been staring at the back of Kryptonite, and for the first time, as we saw at the end of the first stint, Kryptonite's just starting to gap Simon, and that might be the opportunity Rudy leads. It briefly went over that all-important 1 second window where the DRS gets activated, gets back within half a second down the straight, which showed you how important the drag reduction system is around here. But I think if Simon does drop outside of that 1 second, then we're going to see Rudy starting to attack and maybe get himself second place.
Yes, indeed, but these drivers, Kryptonite, Simon and Rudy, shouldn't squabble too much, because coming at them is Andrea, who's now 6.4 seconds behind Rudy. So it's going to be very interesting to see what happens when Andrea eventually gets close to those three. And as a yellow sector 3, I do believe Lineweiler has spun, and it's a virtual safety car. So interesting there, he's lost his front wing off the track. I don't know why the virtual safety car has come out. Lineweiler in a pretty safe spot, and he's just retired on track. So that is the end of his race, and he's doing some burnouts on the side of the track, which is weird. He's got no front wing. His race is over. So 10 remain. The only way you cannot score now is if you do not complete 90% of the race.
Yeah, as long as you get yourself to a checkered flag, you're going to be scoring yourself some nice points here. We'll see if anyone gains from the VSC. You're not supposed to, of course, but at the moment you can see Simon not that close to the back of Kryptonite, closes up quite dramatically in the braking zone. When the VSC ends, could well always have an important save, because the drivers aren't going to have the DRS either, so it could be a bit of a straight slipstream battle. It's probably good news for these drivers. It stops Andrea catching them up. He's had to go half a lap at the moment without being able to use that strength for the tyres. The VSC just coming out a bit late for these front drivers to, of course, take advantage of it. I do wonder whether we'd have seen any of these front four dive into the pits for a fresh set of soft tyres. Maybe someone like Rudy, of course, at the back of this train would have lost out to Andrea, but wouldn't have dropped too far down the field and would have had some very fresh soft tyres as Cohen picks up another 3-second time penalty. He's now up to 11 seconds. Back to green flag action then, just over 8 laps remaining in this race. Kryptonite still holding on to second on track, but as things stand with the penalties, he would currently drop down to 4th place, and that's probably going to become 5th by the time Andrea gets onto the back of this train. I'm not sure Andrea and maybe Jax as well, though, are going to have enough in their tyres to make any overtakes once they have caught up to 2nd, 3rd and 4th.
Yes, I'm seeing the gaps now under 4 seconds between Rudy and Andrea, as you can see on the right of your screen. This is getting very interesting, folks. Can Andrea, while conserving his tyres, make his way through the three in front of him, Kryptonite, Simon and Rudy? This is going to be very interesting finish to this race. I'm not sure if he's going to catch Risa, but that's a question to be asked later on in the race. He's actually much faster than he has ever been before in the first sector, so it's looking all on the onwards and upwards for Andrea right now. But of course, we don't want to talk ahead of ourselves. Anything can happen in the closing stages of this race, and it just has. Cohen has spun off at turn number 9 and has actually reset the track. I'm not sure if that's a penalty against that, but I would have to check my notes. That is the case, as there's still a battle between Krypton, Simon, and Rudy. Nothing changes between those. Saucy gets another penalty. That's him up to 15 seconds. If we were awarding trophies for the most penalties, Saucy would be the winner. No offense, of course. But there you go. The Tomer gets another penalty. He's now up to 15 seconds. So they just can't seem to keep it within bounds, Luke. It's just a really tricky track, though.
Yeah, it seems to be really scrappy for the bottom half of the drivers of keeping it within the track limits. For top half, with 7 laps to go, top 5 drivers, it's only Kryptonite with that 1 penalty at the moment, which would currently cost him, would only cost him 2 places for now. It's only a couple of attempts though off Andrea getting within that all-important 3-second window, as you just see the McLaren go by there. Cohen comes into the pits. I think this is going to be a fresh set of tyres, perhaps just overheated them ever so slightly, and maybe a tiny bit of damage as well for the Alpine driver. No, just a fresh set of rubber, and serves his 5-second penalty, so he will come out in 8th place behind Messenger. Should still be well ahead of Tomer and Saucy. Now that we're getting towards the latter stage of this race, I think these mediums on Simon and Rudy are really starting to struggle in the dirty air behind Kryptonite, so they can't stay close enough to really make an overtaking real opportunity, as Thomas sets the fastest lap of this race, and Andrea and Jax really starting to close down. This 2-car train, probably only a lap or 2 away to becoming a 5-car battle for the final 2 podium slots.
Yes, this is going to be a very interesting end to this race, as we see no changes between 2nd, 3rd and 4th, as Andrea has pretty much caught up to the 3 in front, and so has Jax. So it's anyone's game going into lap 23, as there will be a lot of DRS action there, of course. Recess still leading by nearly, well, technically 5.5 seconds if we're counting Kryptonite's penalty for track limits. Just starting lap 23 now. Kryptonite comes around the final corner. F Messenger getting another penalty. You hate to see it. That's him up to 15 seconds. 3 drivers on 15 seconds now, as they head around. The leaders head around at the first few corners. Risa just coming through the S's. Nothing can really stop him except Risa himself. It's just been a fantastic drive from him. It's been pretty much chill, I have to say. But this is where the action's starting to heat up. Andrea has caught up to Rudy, 1973, and he's right on the back of him. He's going to have all the DRS in the world when he gets down through turn 11 as they break into the hairpin. Coming out, who is going to have the pace? Who is going to have the straight line speed? Who is going to have the guts to make some moves as they come down through the stretch? Who is going to make a move? It doesn't look like anyone is as of late. No, it just doesn't seem to be happening. But Simon having a peek at Kryptonite, but no changes in the pecking order as of now, Luke.
Yeah, I feel like it's just starting to boil here. The bubbles are starting to appear in the pot, and I think very soon it's all going to boil over. Andrea, he's not got a lot of ERS, sends one down the inside into turn number 15. That's a brave move from Andrea. Thankfully, the Red Bull of Rudy did see it coming. Has he got the grip to go all the way around the outside of 16, 17 and 18? I think he's just about done it. What a move by Andrea. Gets himself up into 4th position. Fantastic for him, because that means he's now on for a podium. Of course, with Kryptonite's penalty, he just needs to save that tiny bit of ERS though to maybe make the overtakes a tiny bit easier. And I wonder whether that's going to give Simon the hurry up, because he's now got a very fast car on soft tyres right behind him.
Yes, indeed. And the drivers in front of him are going to be very concerned indeed, because they've just saw the moves that Andrea can pull left, right and centre. He'll take any line into making a move, and he will get you before the checkered flag, way before the checkered flag. There are 5 laps to go in this race. Jax in 6th now, chasing down Rudy for 5th. Rudy is starting to crack under the pressure, perhaps, maybe, as Simon and Kryptonite are going to battle, but Andrea is watching as a not-so-innocent bystander. What's going to happen down here? Simon coming up right to Kryptonite is going to make the move into turn number 12, and he gets it done, I think. Yes, he does. And into 2nd he goes, and next will be Risa, but that is 4.8 seconds away. Andrea starting to close up to Kryptonite. Kryptonite starting to feel the heat, and here comes Andrea! What a move from the McLaren driver. He is pulling out all the stops, but here comes Kryptonite striking back. Can he hold on? Yeah, goodness me, they're still going side by side. Look, this is insane. Andrea still on the inside into turn number 20, and he's made it. He is into third place now. What in the world is going on?
Brilliant from Andrea. Couldn't quite get the move secured at 16, 17 and 18, but held on long enough. And with that inside line, there was not a lot Kryptonite was going to be able to do here. But still, the electrical energy, you can see there, the red light flashing as he comes out of turn 2 and 3. Andrea, that's going to make it pretty hard for him to overtake Simon at the conventional DRS point. But we've seen already, he doesn't need a conventional point to overtake. Jax is still on the back of this train as well. These soft tyres, he's got the fresher ones. So if anything, he should find it a bit easier to get ahead of Rudy and Kryptonite. And he could really do with getting ahead of Kryptonite, of course, because that would be for position at the end of the race, seeing as they both have 3 seconds of time penalties at the moment. Andrea all over the back of Simon. He finally got that move done on Kryptonite. I wonder if he's now starting to wish he just got it done a lap or two earlier, because here comes Andrea with the DRS. And in the end, straight as forward as you like. Very simple for him. Jax on the back of Rudy as well, down the inside into turn number 12. Still got that grip. And that is Jax into the top 5.
Yes, brilliant strategies from Andrea and Jax. They have paid off tonight. Jax, of course, I do believe Andrea and Jax did start on the medium tyres, and it has really paid off. It's paid off in spades, Luke. Kryptonite getting up very close to Simon now, but remember, he has a 3-second penalty, so that has to be taken into account. Andrea is now 4.4 seconds. Is he going to get close enough to reset in time? Oh, it's going to be a bit close. I'm not sure, Luke. It's a bit too far-fetched.
Yeah, I'll tell you what is close. So here, Jack straight away on the back of Kryptonite, down the inside into turn number 1. Has he got far enough ahead to get that move done? Kryptonite's going to try and hang it off round the outside of 1. That'll give him the inside line for the next part. But again, I don't think he's got the grip on those medium tyres. No, he hasn't. And that is Jax up into 4th. And as they've both got a 3-second time penalty, and now so has Rudy, that is very costly for the Red Bull driver, because you'd have said he still had a slim chance of getting a podium. Now, 6th place might be the best he can manage, but that is Jax up into 4th. With the penalties, though, you'd imagine it's pretty straightforward now for Risa, Andrea and Simon, and especially for Simon. Just don't do anything stupid, and you should get your first podium of the season.
Yes, indeed. Those penalties are now cancelled out each other, so they are going to finish as they are, as it stands. But now Andrea's 4 seconds behind Risa. It's fallen a bit as Simon has lost 3rd place to Jax. But remember, he has a 3-second penalty, so he's got to go like the clappers if he wants to keep it. Andrea now under 3 seconds, back under 4 seconds, pardon me. Now above 4 seconds, but back under 4 seconds as he comes around the final few corners. I don't see it happening, Luke, but you never know. Stranger things have happened.
Yeah, what would make it interesting, well, what could probably end the race, actually, with the pace, in terms of Risa taking the victory, is if he does pick up a penalty. I imagine, though, seeing as he's been on his own, he's had a chance maybe just to take it that slight bit easier as Rudy comes into the pits, taking advantage, perhaps, of the free pit stop. Not sure I'd have done that. In case, he's got a puncture on 18-lap-old tyres. Well, that's very interesting indeed. And maybe now for Risa, Simon and Kryptonite, that's something they've got to watch out for, because their tyres aren't going to be in too good condition either. This is going to be a very tantalising end to the race.
Yes, Risa, just seeing on the TV screen the puncture from, what was it, Rudy. This could be a game changer. He's going to be very concerned about his tyres, and he's just trying to take it slow. And you know what, sometimes, especially in this scenario, slow and steady does win the race. He's kept that 3.5-second gap from Andrea. The only thing that can really stop Risa now is a short puncture, but I think his tyre conservation is alright.
Yeah, I imagine he's not been stuck in traffic in this race like Rudy has, so that's definitely not going to help their tyres. Simon, massive lock-up on that front left tyre. That is going to absolutely kill through 16, 17 and 18, so needs to be very careful indeed. But you can see how much they are struggling at this moment in time with the tyres. And again, that's another big lock-up. Simon seems to be really struggling to get the rotation on those tyres when he's under braking through some of these corners, and he's going to maybe pay the price for that. He's losing out to Kryptonite, and he might even lose a chance of getting a podium here because Jax is nearly 3 seconds ahead of him. These soft tyres, it seems to have been the best thing to do. You can see why all these drivers came into the pits under the safety car. Maybe a lap or two later, that VSC, it would have been an ideal strategy, but we are on to the final lap of the race. Kryptonite all over the back of Simon. Doesn't have to make the move for points position. It will stay as things are, but Simon just needs to do what he can, otherwise he is going to lose that first podium.
Oh my goodness me, the tyres on Reese are starting to unfold. It's getting very tense. The gap is... Oh, Simon's got a penalty! So Jax doesn't have to worry about bridging a 3-second gap, but he's done it anyway. Funnily enough. How ironic of a situation. I do not see Andrea closing up to Risa, except if Risa gets a puncture, but I don't see it happening yet. Risa's just been very good with his tyre conversation tonight. I think our hoodoo of pole to wins, wire to wire, could be about to end, Luke.
Yeah, certainly. It's getting to the point now where even if he did get a puncture, he might have a chance of holding on to that race victory. Kryptonite, though, down the inside of Simon into turn number 4. Gets the move done. He's got a bit deep, though, and Simon's going to try and fight back. These two are battling tooth and nail on the final lap of the race. For 4th position, they're pushing each other wide. It's probably going to be Risa who takes the victory. Kryptonite's now got that position done. Can Simon fight back at any part of the track? It's going to be very difficult now. It's coming through the final couple of corners from Powell to the race win. He managed his tyres just well enough, and it is Risa who takes the victory here for Alfa Romeo. A fantastic result from Andrea to get second place on that alternate strategy. 2 podiums in a row for Jax, and it is Kryptonite who comes home in 4th place. Simon 5th. And then a long wait down the order. Rudy's going to cross the line in 6th place. The unlucky one in the end to get that puncture. Didn't really cost him though, because of course he was in 6th before it. He stays in 6th position. Cohen, Messenger, Thomas and Saucy will be the final points finishers. But a victory then for Risa, stopping that pole position hoodoo. I imagine 1 lap longer, that could have got very interesting indeed.
Yes, indeed. For the first time this season in this division, we have someone who's went from wire to wire. Started on pole, finished on pole. F Messenger nicks the fastest lap, but unfortunately in this league there are no points on offer for the fastest lap around the circuit. Thomas will finish in 9th place with 2 points. Sassy will... Well, he's got enough... We seem to have lost Luke for a second. Is that an accident?
That was an accident. Just operator error, I think is the best way to put that. But yeah, Sussy comes around the corner, gets the final points position. We saw Thomas finishing just ahead of him. A very spread out field, but it sort of cooled off for a bit in that middle stint of the race. Normally you see racers that were a bit dull at the start and then liven up at the end. We had a lively start, not a lot happening in the middle, but as soon as the different tyre strategies starting to come into play, as Alpha Man makes his way onto the podium, we saw some fantastic action towards the end, and in the end, the 2 drivers who went medium to soft worked out for them, both getting on the podium.
Yes, indeed, it shows that the more aggressive endgame strategy has worked a treat. And speaking of endgame, a superhero coming onto the podium. You love to see it. And the driver celebrating with champagne in hand. Of course, the tradition was invented, I believe, by Dan Gurney. I think it was Dan Gurney. I'm not sure, but anyway, there's your result. Look at that. Andreas started in 11th and got all the way up to 2nd. He's got to be my driver of the day for this one.
Yeah, certainly. It was awarded it by the game, and yeah, I can't really argue with that. He did a fantastic job keeping it clean as well. Brilliant for him. Risa taking the win. Andrea 2nd. Jackson 3rd. Kryptonite, I think his best result of the season, in 4th. Simon, who could have got a podium in the end, tyre wear penalties, getting overtaken, meant he finished 5th. Rudy 6th, and Cohen, Messenger, Thomas, Sussy, the final points finisher. We saw Line Violet, Enzo Ricciardo, Dunscreen and Santeri all retire from the race, and I think that just proves sometimes it's quality, not quantity. Plenty of action and a quality drive from our race winner. Powell to victory. Apart from that possible risk of punctures at the end, never really looked in doubt.
Never looked in doubt. Yes, Risa was in control of the car the whole way through. He had nothing to worry about. There was nothing that could stop Risa. Of course, he had to get past some of the non-pitters during the middle segment of the race, but it didn't seem to have any problems facing him. It was a clear victory for Risa, of course, one of the top drivers on the PlayStation platform. Great to see him performing very well.
Yeah, certainly.
Saucy had suggested I want to do an interview, even though he finished last amongst them. But of course, he still got a point for it. Not every day you can say that. Risa, we're just waiting for in the booth. Sorry. It doesn't sound right saying in the box because it's like we're in a cardboard box. But no, Risa cannot do an interview. He's in a hurry. So we'll not be hearing from him.
Not sure whether we are going to get any of the drivers tonight, unfortunately. But
5 a.m. for Jax.
Yeah, it is early morning for Jax, of course, the Australian. So he says he's waiting for his sister to move out, and then he can make as much noise as he wants. If we take a quick look at what the championship standings are at the moment, still obviously Gamer leading on 140, Brock second on 70, Andrea now, he finds himself on 69 points, so really closing up for that battle for second place. I think Lars remains fourth in the championship on 58 points, and it is now Simon moves his way up into fifth on 44. Next time around, we are going to be at the Mexican Grand Prix, and that'll be the final race before the break. Mexico, of course, the main feature of that track, that incredibly long first DRS straight where we're going to see plenty of slipstreaming.
Yes, of course, probably one of the longest straights in the calendar. Of course, has seen, of course, the sea level, I should say. Sorry, the sea level is very high compared to other tracks. Of course, Mexico City being right up there. So it's going to be a very different dynamic. I'm not sure if that applies into the game, but of course we will see when it comes to that. But of course, yeah, I need a rest after that race. Jeez.
Yeah, it was a scintillating race. I think a bit like real life, we saw it all getting exciting at the end of the race. And unlike real life, we did see some overtakes at the end of the race. The intriguing thing about Mexico, like you said, because of the altitude level, and I'm not sure how well it translates to the game, but the teams have to put almost Monaco levels of downforce on, and they end up achieving almost Monza-like levels of straight line speed just because the air is a lot thinner and the engines do work slightly differently. So it would be definitely interesting if they could integrate that into the games for the future. And we are going to see plenty of Mexican action. We're going to see the PC tiers back this week, Xbox as well on the Monday before we are back on Friday with action from the top tier. Can Risa make it 2 wins in a row? Will we see the return of Gamer to try and just push that championship lead out a tiny bit longer? Or will we see another new winner this season? We have 2 new winners in the last 2 races. Why not make it 3 next time out in Mexico City? Thank you everyone for watching. Take care of yourselves, and we will see you in a week's time for the Mexican Grand Prix. Goodbye.
Bye.